What's going on, everybody? This is Afrothinktank, and today we're going to discuss a comment that was left on one of my videos when I was talking about the Pretendians, right, and their delusions about a fictitious history. Now, I had one of my subscribers, tell me that they like my content, and but they would prefer that I stop calling people idiots and stuff like that, right? And I have to admit, I be calling people stupid and idiots a lot, right? It's because they stupid and they're idiots, all right? But that doesn't mean I can't do better and maybe change the word. I'm working on it. Now, can't promise I ain't gonna say it again, but I'm working on it. I think my new word will be unknowledgeable. If you hear me start to say unknowledgeable a lot, that's my substitute word for stupid and idiots and dumb and all that good stuff, because there are a lot of unknowledgeable people out there. But the guy came in there and he said something, and I felt like he said it with his full chest, right? So first we're gonna read what it is that he said. We are indigenous. All continents were once connected. It's not about white and black. It's about energy, good and evil, positive and negative. Get outside your box. You think you're not in. Okay, now I want you to understand that when somebody tries to say something with their chest and they try to be witty and intelligent, but they do not know what they are talking about, it makes them, it's embarrassing them, and they don't understand they're embarrassing themselves. So what I'm going to do, because I've heard this a lot. I've heard people say this a lot. Pangea. Like, I don't know. It shows me that when these guys are not highly, these guys, I don't know how they got educated or what, but I don't know where they got this from. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as a teaching moment, because I think that's one of the most ridiculous things I hear these Pretendians talk about, right? Pangea, that means when the continents were connected, right? That was 200 million years ago. Do you understand? 200 million years ago, when the continents were connected. The dinosaurs were around when Pangea was around. There were no humans around. There were barely any mammals, okay? There were small mammals walking around, right? We are mammals. There were barely any mammals around during this time. When they split up 200 million years ago, and they started to separate and to form into the continents and the countries that we have now, okay? So I don't know who is saying this. I don't know if Dan Calloway is telling people about pain. I don't know what that guy is teaching you guys, but it's coming to my attention that there's a gross level of miseducation happening on social media. You have teachers who are teaching false information, and these people are absorbing it because they are enamored with the personality that they have attached themselves with, that they have decided that guy is my leader because he makes sense to me, right? And it's highly unknowledgeable. So for all you guys, for all you Pretendians, for all you people who want to find a way to attach yourself to a fictitious group of people that never existed, and you want to use an idea of Pangea to try to confirm that African people, are, somehow indigenous to the Americas, and that's the justification for your dislike and hatred of Africans and the whole idea of you identifying as an African, which you are, by the way. You are an African, right? Another thing, when it comes to human migration, understand that we African people migrated out of Africa and populated the world. Yes, that did happen. But at some point, we started to change because of the environment and the conditions that we were in. And we evolved into other, what we now classify as races. Technically, there is no other. Technically, there's no difference in race. Like, technically, we're all the same with just different adaptations towards our environments, right? And we also mingled with other Homo sapiens that gave us other genetic, traits or whatnot. Like the Asians, when Africans encountered the other hominids on where we call Asia, right? The Denisovans, we breeded with them and we created what you see, the Asians, right? And then you have the Denisovans. They also breeded with the Neanderthals, and then humans, later on came up, and we also breeded with the Neanderthals, right? Creating Europeans, those people we call Europeans, right? That's what we changed. So yes, we can technically say, everybody's African. But if that's the case, then you can't be xenophobic, and you have to look at everybody as your brothers and sisters, white, black, Asian, or indifferent, because technically everybody comes from Africa, right? But at some point, enough genetic diversion happened to where we now classify them as a totally separate group of people, all right? But us, African Americans, us African people over here, we came only 300 years ago. It's only been about 300 years since we, particularly in North America, been here. We come directly from West Africa. We are not descendants of any group of Aboriginal black people who made it. By the time the human beings made it to North America, they have already diverged into what we consider Asian, and those Asians diverged in what we would call Native Americans. These Native Americans are the divergence of Asians and some Polynesians. All right, the Polynesians and Asians are divergence of Africans. Okay, like Europeans, they became what we consider white only 9,000 years ago. Before that, the Europeans were dark-skinned people like us, right? Black. Yeah. And then they became what we consider white because of the situation they found themselves in, in Europe. So when people say things with their full chest and they don't know what they're talking about, it really does make them not look so intelligent. And I just want you guys, if you're going to be a pretendian, you're going to have to come up with something better. Like, if you don't, and I think you guys know that you guys are African, and you guys are just doing mental gymnastics because you are suffering from shame, right? You feel shame because we've been told, as African Americans, we've been told that Africans ain't shit. That Africa never contributed anything to society. You've drunk the Kool-Aid of what the European has told you about yourself, and because of that, you guys want to be something else, right? And that's why when you ask these guys, you'll say, hey, well, if you're an indigenous, tell me, what language did you guys speak? They can't answer. What kind of foods did you guys eat? They can't answer. What kind of native clothing did you wear? They can't answer. What's the name of your kingdoms, empires, and tribes? They can't answer. Where's the archaeological proof? They can't answer. The only evidence that they have is something that grandma said. And everybody knows at this point that your grandma was lying because she didn't want to admit that she had some white in her. And it's the shame that we carry as African Americans of being constantly graped by these Europeans who are not superior to us that we carry. And it manifests into these fictitious ideas that we create that we're some sort of magical group of people. Now, I also want you to understand this. If that was the case, that you were some sort of magical group of people, that would mean you got dominated to the point to where your entire existence has been destroyed. That has not happened to any other group on the planet that had to suffer from the barbarians. No, the barbarians have never been successful in 100% wiping out the total existence of a group of people. Even though they wiped out the Tasmanians, the group of people we still have evidence that they were there. There's zero evidence. Now, if you use the anecdotal evidence of did Africans make it to the North America, I believe we did. I believe there were small enclaves of Africans who did make it to America. I believe we did go back and forth and trade with the South Americans, the people, the natives down there, right? But that doesn't mean we had a significant population to the point that where we can consider ourselves indigenous. That doesn't make us indigenous. That made us visitors. Okay, that's what that was. We were visitors, and there are probably some genetic remnants of those people in South America somewhere along the line. But that doesn't mean that you are indigenous. Also, if it was just your grandma who say she was Indian, it's like you're disregarding the rest of your family, right? The rest of your family who are African. Therefore, you're still pushing the goalpost back and trying to identify with something that's very minimal in your blood. Now, there are black people in America who are part Native American. There are. Native Americans own slaves. Native Americans own slaves. That's the truth. And after slavery, the Native Americans didn't want to end their ownership of slaves. So, and also, African Americans participated in the destruction of the Native Americans, the Buffalo Soldiers. The Portuguese also utilized Moorish mercenaries to defeat the Native Americans. That did happen. There was a lot of stuff that happened back then. Everything's not black and white, and everything's not good, just specifically good and evil. It's a lot of context, a lot of nuance to history. And that's why it's important for us to educate ourselves and to learn real, true, objective history so that we don't make ourselves look like very, very unknowledgeable people for millions of people to see and to verify. You understand? Anyway, that's all I got to say. This is Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.